All right. For those of you who do not know me, I am Stacey Salyer. I have been in the industry for over 20 years in property management. I started a consulting business this year, Property Management Strategist, and partner with other great vendors to do some free education. I would love to introduce my guest today, Kyle Renz with Blue Jay Reviews. I'll let you take it from there, Kyle.
So I'm from Blue Jay Reviews. I was working in the broadcast world, moved into the go-to market space, especially in outbound marketing strategies, moved in to take a position with Blue Jay Reviews a number of years ago and head up our business development and sales. We talk a lot about reviews because we're a review and reputation management company. For folks that don't know, we're all about taking your reputation online. Online perception is reality. People buy from those they know and trust. So we make your reputation for property management companies look that much better online, really bring it up to the level that we know that you're at. A lot of property management companies struggle with their reputation because grouchy renters that can jump online and leave bad reviews. And it just starts to skew that star rating, which is your reputation. Everybody uses reviews to shop for everything, right? I always say even socks on Amazon, people obsess over reviews. Our goal is to get your star rating back to where it belongs and to fireproof, especially your Google business listing. That's where the majority of eyeballs go and they're looking at reviews. So we're just there to make your reputation pristine. That's what we've been working with exclusively for the last 6 years, been a company for 8 years, but for the last 6, we've focused exclusively on property management reviews just because they're different from any other industry. If you look at restaurant reviews versus property management, it's a totally different story, requires different tools, different strategies and tactics. And that's what we're all about.
I would love to set the stage for everybody. What we're going to be talking about today is reviews and how to put your reputation on autopilot. Kyle's going to hit on 3 strategy pillars on how to make sure that you are set and ready to go. He talked a little bit before about review insurance. So I want to make sure that we definitely talk about what that means. It's actually a cool insurance versus some of the other insurances we pay for. And I encourage use the chat. If you have questions or you want to jump in and ask something specific, please use the chat. I monitor it while we're going. I have created a couple polls. So I would love to know, do you currently have a process to gather reviews? You can go ahead and answer it. And if you want to put in the chat, maybe a little bit of your answer. It looks like, we're kind of getting some answers. We've got 2 answers of they kind of have a process. So that's pretty normal. A little bit of a backstory. Kyle and I met through LinkedIn, of course, because everybody meets online nowadays. What really intrigued me once I chatted with him is that when I built my business back in 2016, I did focus on reviews in the very beginning. I had gotten some advice from somebody. If you can get those 5 stars going, you're going to start off with a better platform. I started at the bottom of Google because it was a new business. And over time, I was able to get myself up into that top spot. I did all of that just by gathering reviews and having a good process for it. I didn't actually pay for anything. I just had a really good internal process. So when we started chatting, I was like, we need to do a webinar and talk about this. I would love for you to take it from here and tell me, what are your 3 strategies within Blue Jay?
The strategies are really there to solve the problem. I'd like to take a quick step back and talk about the problems we see in property management reviews. This poll is great because this is the most common answer, right? Everybody kind of has a strategy when it comes to their reviews, but most property management companies end up being reactive to their reviews instead of being proactive. If you ask property management companies, do you have a plan for handling maintenance requests? It would be 100% yes, everybody's got that, because if you don't, it turns into chaos. And so the same thing happens in reviews, but what that looks like is the 1-star army, they're the ones that have the emotional impetus to jump online and start leaving reviews because they have a motivation. They end up becoming the majority voice in your reviews, and it starts to drag down those star ratings. And the result of that is you start losing leads to property management companies that have a better looking star rating. Meanwhile, those happy and satisfied customers, your renters, your landlord owners, even your vendors, they just will never leave a review unless you ask them. It's not because they don't like your business. It's not because they don't like you. It just never crosses their mind, right? Nobody wakes up in the morning and says, hey, I got 10,000 things to do today. I'm going to squeeze in leaving a 5-star review for my property manager. Nobody says this. What we've found is if you ask people for a review at a strategic moment, they're much more likely to leave the review because they are happy with your service. When they're feeling positive about your business after a move-in, people are generally excited about their life and your company when they have that move-in. It's new, it's exciting. Move-outs also actually work sometimes. We do filter for some move-outs because that can get dicey. But, renewing a lease, going to a viewing, those are positive experiences. But the biggest one is really that maintenance request, right? So you fix somebody's dishwasher, they're going to love you for it, right? I've got 3 kids. If my dishwasher goes out, it turns into a mess over here. So if somebody comes and fixes my dishwasher, I'm going to be very happy to go leave them a 5-star review. But this is number 2 in our process. Number 1, you got to be asking for reviews when it matters most. And the way we're doing that is tying into your property management software. Nobody has to change their workflows. Let's say you use Appfolio, Rent Manager, even Yardi. The minute you close the work order on fixing that dishwasher, our system sees that as a trigger event, grabs that person's contact information, sends them a text message and an email. Very professional, very branded, and it directs them straight to leaving a review.
So it doesn't put any extra stress on the team. It's not like your maintenance coordinator in the summertime when they've got ACs going out and dishwashers breaking and refrigerators. Yeah. When the maintenance coordinator closes that out or the property manager, your system will automatically take care of that. It's not any additional stress on the MC.
They don't have to set up a text message. They don't have to look at any other software. We just recognize this. When we started working with property management companies, I had no idea about the industry. But 6 years ago, we realized these people are very busy. Do they ever go to sleep? Kind of busy. If this is going to be successful, we've got to build a platform that's going to work for them specifically. We've got to take all of the weight off of their shoulders. They don't have time to chase reviews and manage the reviews and market their reviews. So let's just do automation systems that take care of all of it. So that's really what that looks like.
Awesome. And we got a question. Does it integrate with RentVine?
Yes, we integrate with RentVine. My developer is working on making our RentVine integration more robust. A lot of people are moving into RentVine, and we've noticed this trend. So we're making that integration much more robust because they're adding more features as well.
Oh, I love that. That's great to know. They're great new software. So cool. Thank you.
Yeah, we really try to stay on top of the market, look at what all the other vendors for property management companies are doing, especially in the property management software side.
That's awesome.
Yeah. I'll go back to those 3 pillars, if you don't mind. We covered number 1, asking at a strategic moment. Number 2, you have to make it super easy for people to go leave a review or they will bail on the process. And a lot of the property management software platforms out there, they have these internal survey tools. I'm going to take Appfolio, for instance. They have their native survey tool that will ask for a survey, and it'll be a thumbs up or a thumbs down, smiley face, frowny face. They're trying to get customer sentiment. And when they come back with a positive reply on that survey, then the property management company team goes out and they ask for a review. So immediately when we onboard somebody, if they're using something like that, we say, let's turn that off immediately. A lot of people think this is counterintuitive. They don't like it up front, but we say we've been doing this for 6 years. We've got so many great case studies. This works. What happens when you do that is you're creating an extra hoop for people to jump through. When you're asking someone for a review, you've got to put yourself in the prospect shoes. Just like when you're making a sale, you've got to always be thinking about what does the prospect feel about this? When you're creating an extra hoop, you're asking them to do another technology task on your behalf where they don't get anything out of it except for that very short fleeting moment of feeling like a good person. It takes all 5 seconds for them to lose that feeling that they left a review. It's really something they're doing for you. You have to make it very easy. When you add that extra layer, we have seen that you will have a 50 to 60% drop off of people actually going to leave the review because they say, I've already done something for you. I already left you that survey. I'm busy. Or sometimes, quite frankly, they will look at it and say, this is just kind of a ploy that you're using to get me to leave a review. And it's actually called review gating in the industry. Oh. So they're saying you're gating me here and I know what's up and I'm not going to do it. So we just say, go straight for the punch, ask for the review. And for us in our text message, it's just got that green button that takes you straight to Google. We always focus on Google first before you look at Facebook or Better Business Bureau, which we also integrate with, along with many, many more, apartments.com, rent.com. So what we want to say is let's go focus on Google first. So they click on that. It opens up the dialog box for them to hit 5 stars. They hit post and they're done. It takes them 5 seconds. So they're actually going to do it. When property management companies do not have a strategy, they're typically getting reviews from 0.1 to 0.2% of their review pool. When they use Blue Jay reviews, they end up having a 15% response rate, sometimes more. So that's why many of our clients are getting anywhere from 10 to 50 5-star reviews every 30 days, which just rockets up on the map pack. That's number two, making it easy.
Cool. I have another poll I just shared. Do you know your current Google rating? I'm just curious. And if you would like, you can put it in the chat. So we'll see if anybody answers. We've got yes, 100%. That's awesome. If you guys want to share it, you don't have to, but if you'd like to, it's always kind of fun to see. Okay, we've got a 3.5. That's not horrible, but definitely room for improvement. I know you've got some case studies we can talk about and how you've been able to help people build them up from that mid-level to the higher level. Amy, you have a 5. That's amazing. When I was running a 5 in my company, it actually gave me anxiety because I was just waiting for the day that I got sad and somebody left me a 1-star. It does happen. Awesome. I will let you jump into number 3. So far, we've done number 1, which is asking for reviews when it matters most. Number 2, making it super easy, which I attribute to experience. So yeah, what's number 3?
And number 3 is the one that raises the most eyebrows, and that is to block the 1-star reviews with an 85% success rate or higher. A lot of time we get onto a call with a property management company and they want to ask, how do I remove a review? We used to sell this service, and it's something that used to be a lot easier to do with Google. At this point, the truth is they just don't care. You can have escalations with them, and it's most likely going to be ignored, especially if they're really old. We actually partner with a company that can help you to move reviews, but it's about $1,500 a pop. We say, if you only have a few negative reviews, don't worry about it, because you can flood those with so many 5 stars that you're never going to think about it again. My clients that have a 1-star review from 6 years ago never think about it twice, just because they have so many hundreds of 5 stars. To block the 1 stars, we're talking about mitigating those. And really, it's all about an escalation path. But that same strategic moment when we're asking for the positive review, we also have this big red button they can't miss that says, if your experience wasn't great, we want to make it right. Contact us directly below this big red button. If you're going to try this on your own, you can DIY everything that can be put onto automation. Use that syntax exactly, because we've done a lot of testing on this. And that's the one that gets people to click on it, where they're able to write out their complaint, they hit submit, and then it goes to you in a private inbox on our platform where you can actually assign it as a ticket to somebody to fix the problem and reach out to that person immediately. You get notified with an email and on our smartphone app that this 1-star review has come in, but it's actually not a 1-star because it goes into the direct feedback category for us. And so it sounds simple, but what this is doing is it's diffusing the situation, right? Most of the time when people are leaving, they've stewed on a problem for a little bit. All property managers get busy. Sometimes those calls go to the voicemail, slip through the crack, or the emails come in, they get buried in the thousands of other emails, and you just miss this complaint. So what this does is going to alert you. It gives that person another escalation path, because most of the time when they're leaving that 1-star, it's because they feel like they have no recourse or their voice isn't being heard. They just don't know what to do. So if you're in front of them at that strategic moment, let's say the work order goes through to fix the dishwasher and it's still leaking. Well, in this way, people are going to say, hey, the dishwasher, we have thousands of these. People will say the dishwasher is not fixed. We need somebody to come back out here. Bruce did a great job, but we need him to complete. This is something we've seen where we get an 85% success rate of capturing those 1-stars before they go public. It really just provides that escalation path. Most people don't want to make their property manager mad. They want to be on good terms. And so they'll give you the benefit of the doubt and they use that path to voice their negative feedback. For one of our clients in Los Angeles, in the last 12 months, we blocked 126 1-star reviews, which helped them go from a 1.9 to a 3.9 where they are now.
So with that client, was he or she able to start looking at internal processes and figure out where certain things were broken? Maybe like, hey, I got to retrain this team member or let go of this one.
Absolutely. Because we're capturing so many different trigger events. It could be the move in, the move outs, the maintenance requests, the viewings. So you're going to know where those 1-stars are coming from. Our AI tool in the platform is also reading your last 100 reviews and giving you an insight report on all the different keywords used for positive or negative sentiments. A lot of people use this fix up their operations. It acts like a survey tool, but instead of putting up that extra hurdle that prevents reviews from being written, you're still able to capture that negative feedback, but also stack up those 5 stars in a way you haven't in the past.
When I had my company, that's something we did at every team meeting. We did a daily huddle on our weekly team meeting. We would review all of our reviews and read them out loud, whether they were 1 star, 5 star, whatever. I took them really serious. I mean, I looked at it, if we got a 1 star, I wanted to dig in deep. Why did we get that 1 star? A lot of times it is something that could have been mitigated or operational. Maybe we got really busy. I always looked at it holistically, and occasionally you're going to get the unhinged person. That is what it is. But generally, I mean, there was usually a valid complaint, and I wanted to know so that I could fix it. So in theory, it wouldn't happen again. I love that you guys are able to block those. And then it sounds like the business owner can have a particular process of when those do come in, whether they assign it to a specific customer service person or they personally handle it. That's really cool. I really love that.
Yeah, and a lot of people do want to take that deep dive. They want to get into the reviews. But the good news is we're collating all reviews from 180 different review sites. So anywhere that somebody could write a review about your company, they're all going to be collated on our dashboard. When you log in, you can filter for a date range. You could filter for the review source. Is it coming from Google, from Facebook, from Better Business Bureau, from Yellow Pages, even if anybody goes to Yellow Pages anymore? But we're still monitoring that. So you'll always know when a review is being written. It's going to show up on our dashboard. And the cool thing is you're able to respond to all reviews directly from our dashboard too. So you don't have to log into your Google business listing. You just do it all from BlueJay. Even better, we're using our AI tools and smart token templates to respond to all of your reviews, especially the 3s, 4s, and 5s. Now, the majority are either going to be a 5 or a 1. Not very many people go in the middle. Right. But there's not a lot to say to a 4 and a 5 star except for, hey, thanks for your business. We really appreciate you. And the AI will read their name, give a very thoughtful response that's personalized. And it just does all that heavy lifting for you, which is important. And this is going back to why reviews are so important, is that Google loves them. Whenever somebody's typing in, what's the best property management company near me, Google's going to present them a menu. As you've all seen on the Google map pack, they're going to have the 3 on the front page that is Google recommendations that has the map to the side. But on Google Maps, they're going to stack them up in a particular order. They're looking for 3 things: who has 4 stars and higher, who has a consistent inflow of 4 and 5 star reviews every single month. And they also want to see who's responding to reviews. So that just signals to the algorithm, hey, we're active. We take our company seriously. Recommend us. So we do a lot of work on the back end as well for local SEO optimization. But those are the 3 critical things that you want. We've seen a number of our customers go from page 3, 4, and 5 on Google up to the number 3 spots just because we're taking care of those things for them. And that's where the majority of leads come in. It's where the majority of sales happen, is in those top 3 spots, maybe the top 5.
Yeah, and I would say from experience, the majority of property management companies are not doing a lot of technical marketing. There's not really a lot of like outbound sales. There's not a lot of, mailers or, traditional marketing that a lot of businesses do, but a lot of them use Google. I use Google just because it's the top review site out there to market and get business. I do a lot of marketing, and that's how I got my business, was through Google. I just worked really hard to have that higher ranking. I had those processes in place. I responded to reviews. I didn't have AI back then for my responses. They probably would have been a little bit more eloquent. It's so important, really. So I know you have some different case studies you wanted to talk about.
The reviews end up becoming that those inbound organic leads, those are just the best thing ever that you can have for a property management company in terms of marketing. We'll go through 2 case studies. These are 2 different property management companies we've worked with that have turned off every other form of paid marketing outside of their reviews. Marketing reviews is super inexpensive to begin with, but they get so much generation from it for their leads that it almost is overwhelming. This is Russ, his Green Ivy Property Management in highly competitive Chicago. He was number 30 on the Google Map Pack. Within a 6-month time frame, we took him from a 3.0 star rating and 6 reviews. He just couldn't get traction. We took him up to a 4.6 and 135 reviews. Worked on his back-end local SEO, and that took him to the number 4 spot. And so we reached out and said, hey, Russ, how's it going, man? How's this been working out for you? Since I've added 150 new doors under management, since I got my reviews optimized. The main thing was him saying that 90% of his leads used to come from word of mouth. This was unpredictable, sporadic, and slow. He jumped to 90% of his leads coming in from inbound organic Google traffic because of his reviews. Reviews make the phone ring. That's what it comes down to. So people would pick up, he'd say, how'd you hear about us? He's a good business owner, tracking where his leads come from. Like, what do you mean? We saw you on Google, looks reputable, let's talk. So he's been thrilled with the service. He's been working with us for a number of years now.
Oh, that's really cool. Yeah. And as time went on, after I built my business, I used Monday.com. I called it my business brain. We had different boards for everything. We had a new client acquisition board. We would track the source. So I was able to go through monthly, quarterly, and yearly and say, okay, so we would track, like, was it referral? Was it realtor referral? Was it Google review? And I don't have the exact numbers off the top of my head, but Google reviews was our number one source for new client acquisition.
This is Sin Property Management in Bakersfield, California. We recently sat down with McKinsey. We'll be having an interview that we'll be posting sometime next week, I believe. I got to get with my tech team on that one. But they were at not a 4-star rating. They were at a 4.4, but they were under 500 reviews. Okay. So after working with us for a number of months, they got to climb up to a 4.6. It's harder to move the needle when you have so many hundreds of reviews. So they were able to gain about 700 reviews with us, the majority being 5 stars. They have a 90% success rate of getting a 5 over a 1. Even with that 4.4, they were still on page 2 on Google. So once we were able to help them optimize their reviews, again, they're back in local SEO, they were able to jump up to the number 3 spot on Google. The biggest story here is their leads. Going from page 2 to the number 3 spot, they went from 25 or 30 leads a month up to 70 plus. Once that happened, she said, wait a second, we've got to turn off everything else. We're getting almost overwhelmed with the number of leads. Why should we be paying for anything else for our marketing? We're happy for them. You talked about the review insurance a little at the beginning of the call. This is a really big one for us. We were thrilled to be able to do this. McKinsey woke up one day, saw her star rating had plummeted overnight. She started digging in and said, wait a second, we lost over 300 5-star reviews in an instant. Google didn't reach out for any notification or to ask any questions. They just believed the algorithm flagged their company. They said, looks like there's about 300 reviews here that go against our terms of service. And they just nuked them. They just turned them all off, took them away. She reached out to us and said, what do I do? We dove into our archiving tools. We keep receipts on everything. If somebody writes a review and then deletes it, we've got the receipt. If Google decides they're going to wake up one day and take away 300 reviews, we got her on the escalation path with Google, got that conversation opened up. We were able to share the receipts and they said, okay, yeah, this is legit because we can match everything against their property management software. They reinstated all of them that very same day, which brought her star rating back up, which was a big deal if that's where the majority of your leads are coming from. We were very happy to help her. It's our archiving tool that provides you with review insurance.
Yeah, I put in the chat. I was curious if anybody else has recently lost any Google reviews. Months I saw a lot of chatter online where, for whatever reason, Google, maybe they introduced some new AI bot, went in and took away a ton of reviews. I had quite a few friends that manage property management companies around the US that were losing hundreds like that. That's detrimental to your business, especially if you have several hundred and you have a great rating. When we were talking the other day about your insurance piece of it, I was like, that is so cool because that's, gosh, if people had been using that, you have an easy way to go to Google and get them reinstated.
You don't have to keep your eye on it with BlueJay because our client success team on a monthly basis, we go through everybody's profile and we go look at that archive tool to see, is there a large number of reviews there that we need to get reinstated. McKinsey happened to see that one before our monthly review, but we would have caught that had she not. A lot of people, they're not always checking on every single one of their reviews all the time. Even 15, 25 reviews can be a lot, depending on where you are in the number of reviews based on those law of averages that Google uses for the star rating.
Yeah, that's really cool. If anybody has any questions, feel free to throw them in the chat. We're happy to answer any additional questions. What else do we have on our list? I know I had the 3 success path and then the insurance that we just talked about. What else?
There's two other topics that I'd like to get into. If I could build on the 3-pillar path to success, so that's for our automations. The other core place to start stacking reviews for your company is with your team, your maintenance team, property managers, people in the field interacting with customers. They're having positive interactions all the time. And you've got to convert those positive interactions to 5-star reviews, to convert those 5-star reviews into new leads. What we've seen as a big problem is that somebody will be in the field, they'll have a positive interaction, and they'll say, Mr. and Mrs. Customer, so glad we could serve you today. Could you leave us a 5-star review? That would really help us out. And there's incentive programs where the employee can get into some bonuses if they're stacking up so many different reviews. We actually have 9 different programs for incentives to help people out in this area. But when you ask somebody directly like that, they've got to go through the hoops to leave the review. Everybody's polite and they say, oh, I'd be happy to do that for you. And then their phone rings or their kid asks them something. They get distracted and then they're going to promptly forget ever leaving the review like they said that they would. So what we've done is develop a way for any of your employees to be able to open up our smartphone app. They log in with their credentials. They've got limited access to what they can see, what they can do. And really they're just being able to ask for reviews. So they'd hit the plus button with the top corner. Let's say it's Paul Weir. You type in Paul, and because we're connected to your property management software, it's going to auto-populate that person's name, grab all their contact info, you hit send, and they're going to get that text message that says, how's your experience with the team? So again, it's just putting it right there in front of them so they're less likely to forget. It makes it that much easier for them to actually leave the review. And it gets tracked to that employee's name because they're logged in with their credentials. In our leaderboard platform and dashboard, you're able to see who's been asking for reviews, who's been receiving reviews, what's their star rating, what reviews are they attached to. Here's an example of one of our clients and their leaderboard. You can see all these people that are in here. Jen at the top has asked for 630 reviews using the exact process I've been talking about. I'd be able to show you what they were actually able to get. Everything is being tracked, so you don't have to go through each of those reviews and say whose name got listed where. That takes forever. This can be downloaded as a report. So you have the monthly meeting and say, hey, Jen won the prize this month, or Daryl's going to get $50 extra for how many 5-star reviews they brought in. We would help you strategize on what those incentives look like. We're working with hundreds of property managers. They're all doing different incentive programs. We know which ones work best. So that's a really cool way to stack more reviews.
Yeah, that's a great way to get everybody involved and
creates a great competition inside.
That's cool. Well, yeah, I love that. So I haven't seen any questions pop in. If anybody has any, feel free to pop in there. I guess for me, the process part of it is just really cool. Like you said in the beginning, you can DIY it. Anyone can DIY anything. I always look at things like, what's my time worth and how much does something cost if I'm not going to DIY it, and what makes sense for my bandwidth of what I'm doing. Obviously, you guys sell a service. Do you want to talk a little bit about that and highlight the cost on it?
Yeah.
Maybe curious.
So like I said, review marketing is very inexpensive. We have a partnership with Stacey for people in her group. If you want to reach out to Stacey, we can set up a sales call. She also has our subscription link to get started. We have 2 of our most popular packages for the property management space. One is going to start at $289 a month. And that's a month-to-month, cancel anytime subscription. We offer a 30-day, 100% money-back guarantee. It just works. When we knew we had this down to a science, that's what we started doing. And that's for our Reviews Complete package. And then we have our Ultimate Lead Generator that goes up to $329 a month. There's a la carte packages that go along with this as well. But those are the 2 where people really want to get started in review marketing. Those are the 2 that they want to see the most. So if you wanted to book a sales call, could set that up with Stacey. I would join that call and we can walk through what your goals are. What's the company profile look like? How many doors do you have under management? And then we get you set up with the right program.
Yeah, that's cool. And I always look at the math. I'm a geek. I was just doing the math really quick. So it's like for the basic package, it's $966 a day. And the ultimate, it's like $1099 a day, which is really inexpensive. I mean, that's almost a latte at Starbucks. If you look at marketing, that's your background originally. So if you're running ads on Facebook to get customers, or even doing pay-per-click on Google, I think it's more expensive than that.
If you're running ads, and I see this all the time because we're analyzing reviews in different markets, if your reviews don't look good, you're throwing money down the drain. They're going to see the ad, look at the reviews. Everybody uses reviews. If you got a 2.8 star rating and you're running ads, you're going to lose out. You get to a 4.6, 4.7, hundreds of reviews, and then start looking at ads. When you get up to hundreds of reviews, you're really fireproof. It's going to take just squadrons of 1-star grumps to bring your star rating down. So we'd say get fireproof first. The reviews, your digital billboard, and those reviews right there are the cornerstone of your marketing. Nobody's going to put up a billboard on the side of the road that says, come check out Stacey Salyer 1.7 stars. Nobody's ever going to do that. So you got to get up there to come check us out 4.7 stars, 1,000 reviews. Now that raises some eyebrows. That screams reputability.
Absolutely. That's really good information. And I guess my process brain always goes back to, because I love that it will intercept the 1 stars, because obviously the 5 stars are really important and that helps build up your rating. But for me as a leader, I do actually want to know what the 1-star problems are. I do want to fix that and make it a better experience for everybody. And I always looked at my business as the 4 pillars. I had 4 pillars of my business: the client, the customer, which is the resident. So client, landlord, your resident, vendors, and then your team. So those were, I always wanted to know, like, hey, is there something that we could do better or work out better? So yeah, I think that's really cool.
You get outside of those automations. You set up specialty campaigns that run twice a year to talk to your pool of landlord owners, but then also talk to your pool of vendors. You're sending so much business to your vendors, they better be giving you 5-star reviews, but they're still not going to do it unless you make it easy for them. So that's where we see a lot of success from those 2 different pools outside of the tenant pool.
Well, if there's not any questions in the chat, I don't know if we have anything else we want to close on.
I can't believe nobody asked about Yelp. I always get questions about Yelp. And yes, we hate Yelp just as much as you do.
Yeah, I didn't have to use Yelp in my market. It's not really big where I am. Google's the main thing. And I was invited to create an account with Yelp. And I was like, no, that is not happening.
Steer clear of Yelp if you can help it. Yelp has a non-solicitation policy. You can't ask for reviews on Yelp, which is why almost everybody's Yelp reviews are not looking so great.
Well, and I've heard other things about them too, but won't get into that. So
not today.
I think this was great. If anybody has any other questions, feel free to reach out to me. Everyone should have my email. I'd love to talk about processes and systems. This is something I really believe in. It's one of the pillars I built my business on and was really successful in adding clients because of our review rating. Thanks so much, Kyle, for joining me today. Keep in touch.
Absolutely. And we talked about the single family space, but this also works in multifamily as well. We just showed 2 single family case studies today, but if anybody's in the multifamily space, just reach out. We'll take care of you.
Well, thank you,
Stacey,
everybody.
thanks for having me on.
Yeah, my pleasure. Thank you, everyone, for joining, and we will see you next time. Have a great day.